since people began to sing together, there was normally someone unable to join in. And this is because human voices have different ranges. And so unless we know how to sing harmonies, the actual number of notes we can all sing together is really quite limited. In traditional Western music, we've split human voices into 4 broad categories, 2 for male voices and 2 for female. Soprano and tenor kind of overlap, with a range from a low B or C to a high A or C. Bass and alto also overlap, with a range from a low E or F to a high C or E. And most people will not conform exactly to these vocal ranges, but they are still useful in helping us understand the limits and capabilities of the human voice. Naturally, when a person's voice is untrained, it's likely they will have an even narrower range than when their voice is trained. So when considering all these different types of voice, is there a safe zone or a common vocal range where everyone can sing together? Edward Miller, composer of the tune, often used for When I Survey the Wondrous Cross, said they, the worship leader, should be careful not to pitch the key of the tune so high as that any note in the course of it may strain the congregation's voices. No note should be lower than D or higher than E. Or at most, the following compass should never be exceeded from C to F. Now, Miller was writing in the context of working with young people, and the older we get, the deeper our voices become. So when we look at the range of alto and bass, we see a high F is optimistic, but they might reach an E. And at the low end, sopranos and tenors will comfortably get as low as a C or B. Establishing these highs and lows defines for us a golden zone, a common range where all can sing together. This range is essentially a little over an octave between the notes C and the second E above it. The worship leader Don Moen, who has 4 decades of experience leading congregations in worship, says, if you're kind of keeping things in the range of C to C, that's great. If you get up to an F, forget about it. The guys aren't going to sing it. And he's right. If we pitch songs too high or too low, those of us with trained voices will often still be able to sing comfortably. But the average member of the congregation is not able to sing with all their heart and soul. Now, just like human voices have ranges, so the songs we sing have ranges. Every song has a highest note and a lowest note, and the distance between those is the range. If a song has a very low verse and a very high chorus, it is likely there are only 1 or 2 keys where that song will work for everyone. If the song has a very narrow range, your choice of key will be much more flexible. So when you pitch a song for corporate worship, pitch it so the range of the song never goes lower than a C at the low end or higher than an E at the high end. Pitch the song so that the melody for the whole song fits between a low C and a high E maximum. If there's an occasional note that dips below the C, that might be okay. You'll only lose a few people. Too low and you'll lose a lot more people. But above an E, you'll lose the majority of people, particularly those with untrained voices. And that's a really bad idea if we're wanting everybody to join in the worship. Any notes that are repeated very often in the melody are best kept well within this range. And if they appear very often, make sure they're comfortably within the range so you don't wear out the congregation by repeatedly singing very high notes. When it comes to people singing with their full heart and soul, high notes do work better than low notes, as long as they're within the range. So always pitch the song favouring the higher end of the golden zone so people can sing with energy and enthusiasm. To find the range of a song, simply play the melody on a keyboard or guitar. On the piano keyboard, you're looking for the whole melody to fit between 2 C notes. Maybe extending above this top C as far as an E. On the guitar, you don't need to be a lead guitarist, just find the B string and see if you can fit the whole melody between the nut and the high E. If we use Amazing Grace as an example, if I play it in the key of F, so in F, so the lowest note is a C there, Amazing Grace, and then it goes like me, and the highest note there is a C. And so actually from C to C, that means in the key of F, Amazing Grace is exactly within the golden zone. If I played it in G, the lowest note would then be a D, and the highest note would also be a D. And so I could probably get away with that. I could possibly even get away with playing it in A, although then the highest note is going to be an E, and that's really pushing it to the very extremes. If I took it down to an E, the lowest note would be a B, and that now feels very low for a lot of singers. But if it only occurs like once or twice in the song, then maybe it's not going to be a problem. But the key of C, for example, is out of the question. Either the melody will be too low in the low parts or much too high in the high parts. As a general but not infallible rule, songs where the top note is the first or octave of the scale, then the keys of D or E will work best. Songs where the top note is the fifth of the scale, then the keys of F, G and A will work best. And songs where the top note is the third of the scale, the key of C, B or B flat will work best. Naturally, this is limiting and may exclude some songs from our use, but that's okay. What's better, a beautiful song that no one can sing, or a great song of some utility that everyone is singing? Using the golden zone does limit the available range. But remember, corporate worship is not a performance. It's not about the worship leader sounding good. It's first about God, and second about all the people worshiping together. If you have a well-trained voice and feel frustrated by songs being pitched well for the congregation, then learn to harmonize. Even when leading, using a harmony line can add a lot to the overall sound. But whatever you do, don't be selfish. Don't pitch the song so it works best for you. Pitch the song so it works best for everyone.